There's a shark alive right now with eyes that reflect light back like a cat's, built for total darkness. And until a few months ago, no human being had ever laid eyes on it. You don't need a spaceship to find something no one's ever seen. You just need to go down. Far enough that sunlight gives out completely. Far enough that the pressure alone would crush most submarines. Off the coast of Australia, that's exactly what one research crew did. And what they pulled up out of the dark is still being counted. Here's the part that should bother you a little. More than 70% of the ocean floor on this planet has never been mapped in real detail. Not unexplored in some vague, poetic sense. Actually, technically unmapped. You could hide a mountain range down there. It turns out someone basically did. In October last year, a research ship called the Investigator left Brisbane and pointed itself at open water. No coastline in sight, no islands. Just the Coral Sea Marine Park. A stretch of protected ocean roughly the size of Egypt and Australia's largest marine park by far. For over a month, the crew lowered nets, cameras, and sampling gear down through water that gets darker, colder, and heavier the further it falls. About 650 feet down, daylight is already gone. Past a mile down, you're in complete blackness. The kind that swallows a torch beam a few feet from the lens. They kept going anyway, all the way to nearly 2 miles below the surface, deeper than most mountains on land are tall. That's the part people forget about ocean exploration. It isn't like sending a rover to Mars, where you can at least see the whole planet from orbit first. Down here, you don't know what's in front of you until the net comes back up. Every single haul is a gamble. Most of what a ship like the Investigator does is slow, expensive, unglamorous work. Dragging gear across a seafloor nobody has a map for, hoping this pass finds something the last one missed. What came back up wasn't a handful of odd curiosities for a museum shelf. It was an entire hidden layer of life nobody had ever catalogued. Crabs with no name yet. Sea anemones built to survive pressure that would kill you instantly. Brittle stars, sponges, jellyfish drifting through total darkness like they own the place. Because, as far as science is concerned, they just found out they do. Once the samples made it back to shore, they didn't stop at one ship or one country. Researchers from the Australian Museum and an international project called the Ocean Census spent months afterwards sorting specimens under microscopes, comparing them against everything already known, trying to confirm what was actually new and what had simply never been photographed alive before. Every one of those species tells researchers something about how this ecosystem actually holds together. What depends on what? What's connected to what else down there? That information now shapes how this entire marine park gets protected going forward. You can't protect what you don't know exists, and until last year, most of what was living in that canyon system technically didn't exist on paper at all. And the numbers kept climbing the longer they looked. When the Voyage first reported back, the count was already past 110 new species. Fish, invertebrates, animals with no scientific name at all yet, some no bigger than your thumbnail. Scientists now expect that number could climb past 200 once every sample gets fully studied under a microscope back on land. One discovery stopped the whole team in its tracks. A chimaera, what researchers call a ghost shark, pulled up from more than 2,700 feet down. Scaleless. Ancient. Part of a lineage that split off from sharks nearly 400 million years ago, built with eyes that catch and reflect the last scraps of light in a place that barely has any. It grows up to 6 feet long. It had been living down there this whole time, completely unknown to science, only around 620 miles off the Australian coast. The team's own shark expert personally identified 4 new species on this one voyage alone. 2 rays, a deepwater cat shark, and that ghost shark. The kind of find most researchers wait an entire career for, and he got 4 in a single month. On the same voyage, the crew also caught rare footage of a sand tiger shark alive in open water, a species scientists almost never get to observe like that, let alone this far from shore. Here's the thing that actually sticks with you once the initial shock wears off. Nobody needed a mission to another planet for this. No years-long trip through space. No telescope pointed at some galaxy a billion light years away. Just a boat, a bit over a month, and water that was already there. Nearly 2 miles under a stretch of ocean people fly directly over every single day without a second thought. And this was one voyage. One canyon system, mapped for the first time, in one corner of one marine park, on one planet where most of the seafloor still has no map at all. If a single research trip can pull up 110 species nobody's ever named, with the number still expected to climb past 200 as the lab work continues, it's worth sitting with what that means for literally everywhere else down there that no ship has reached yet. The wildest discoveries left on this planet aren't hiding at the edges of the map anymore. They're hiding underneath it. So, next time someone tells you there's nothing left to find down here, remember the ghost shark with the glowing eyes. It was there the whole time. We just hadn't gone down far enough to look.